everyone, this is your girl Miss T. Welcome to Moments of Reflection with Miss T. I am Tebogo Makhwane. Again, we have a very nice episode today. As you can see, we are not in our usual studios. So today, guys, it's going to be very interesting. So I hope you have your hot beverage or something to drink, you're sitting back and relaxing. This is episode 5, and before we go anywhere, guys, remember we're still under lockdown level 3. Please remember to always use your mask when you go out and always sanitize. Please sanitize, don't forget to sanitize, or wash your hands regularly. But we want you safe, ne? And if you don't have to go anywhere, please stay at home. So today's episode, we are at Mickey Mini. It is a kindergarten so we are with the beautiful, most intelligent, loving, sweet, guys, I wish you could hear. But we are with Mama Tumi, and she's going to tell us everything about Mickey Mini and how COVID-19 affected the creche tsa rona, our kindergartens, during this pandemic and everything else that has been happening.
Is our celebrity. Yeah, we used to call her the face of Mickey Mini.
Yes.
Hey, by the way, they do call me Bitumelo, and my surname is Mohudi, though I'm known as Mama Tumi.
Yes.
From parents and our learners and our kiddies, they call me Mama Tumi. So everybody can also call me Mama Tumi. I'm very comfortable with that.
Okay, Mama Tumi. I'm so excited. Mama Tumi, you've already introduced a bit of yourself to the viewers, but just to tell the viewers out there, who is Mama Tumi, where she comes from, anything else you want people to know about you?
Oh my word, where do I start? Mama Tumi is the only daughter of her parents. Back in Northern Cape at Kuruman.
Yeah.
That's where I was born. I stayed a lot at Mafikeng, and I came to Bujanala district in 2016 because I had to manage a program within our schools. It was actually all about learning barriers. So that's what made me come to this district, and I just loved the district and decided, you know what, I don't like Rustenburg, I don't like any other places, and I wanted myself in a small space. That's where I found myself in Brits. So yeah,
Sure.
That's a bit of what I can tell you about Mama Tumi.
Okay, Mama Tumi. Today we just want to talk a bit about, as you say, that you were working in schools, helping kids with learning barriers and all those things. So I just want you to tell us what inspired you to leave that, because you left your job, your full-time job, and you started what we see here today, Mickey Mini. And what inspired you to say, you know what, I'm going to start my own business and I'm going to take care of children and teach them myself?
Okay, we were in a partnership with Department of Education, and we had a number of schools, primary schools basically, that we were working with within the district, and we were actually assessing absenteeism. There was a huge number of absenteeism within the district in those certain schools. So we needed to assess and check what was going on there. And that's when we identified when we interview and check the depth of those problems, there were learning barriers that were aligned to those absenteeism. So learning barriers, it could be any barrier. In Setswana re bitsa sekgoreletsi. Yeah, any barrier that would actually be something that would cut the child to jump to him or her being able to learn freely and doing his schoolwork freely without having those barriers. So it was, most of them, it's either there were problems at home, or they had lack of resources like your uniform, or they were traveling a long distance to a school. It was those learning barriers. Again, when we're talking about learning barriers, we're talking about those things that are not enabling them to go to school or to study freely and comfortably. So it was either they were traveling a distance to school. A child would maybe travel like 7 kilometers to a school. So we had to be now aligning. If we find problems like that, we had to outsource assistance for these children. So we would just group them per school. We have 10 learners that are traveling distance from school A and B and C, and maybe check with the Department of Education if they are able to organize school transport for them. Or it would be that the child cannot see clearly and the parent is not really affording to take the child to a doctor for them to be checked. So we would outsource that doctor to come to the school and check the kids, or maybe just make appointments for a number of learners for them to go to the doctor and check their eyes and assist in any way they could. So any barriers that we had encountered in those schools, we would be just outsourcing assistance. If the child maybe is that they don't have school uniform, we would look at the closest business people that would be able to assist the child to get them uniform. So it was just a number of things that we were working with. But first we were identifying absenteeism of the kids. If a child maybe in a month has more than 10 days not coming to school, it was a worry, and we had to just make sure that we pick it up, assess, interview, outsource, and assist the child. And make sure that it's sustainable, that assistance.
That's a very important thing to do nowadays, because I think a lot of people don't understand with our schools right now how many learners are not going to school because of such things that you've mentioned. And I just hope that now that you're no longer there, there is people who are still continuing with what you were doing, because I can just imagine now regarding COVID-19, how are the learners coping with the situation, and the gaps, who is filling the gaps to make sure that the learners, even though they are not able to go to school, but they are still able to study during this time. So with Mickey Mini, the birth of Mickey Mini, how did this come about? Because with the Young Women's Camp, people don't know that you were not there at the camp, but you were behind the scenes, and you were the one helping me with things that I needed to know, how to plan and all those things. So with the theme, birthing your godly purpose, people didn't understand why we're saying birthing your godly purpose, because people think godly purpose is just about being on the pulpit, being a church, being a preacher or a prophet, and they don't understand that there's so many things that God has put in us. So I want with you, God sent you to kids. He made you open a crèche, and I just want you to talk about Mickey Mini, your baby, how God directed you to saying, okay, now you have helped these primary learners, now I want you to start your own thing.
Right on the barriers that we were identifying at school, I would start there. We actually noticed that parents are sending kids at a very young age to do grade R. And in that case, the child would struggle at grade 3 to write an external exam. So we had to check why is this child not able, to capture all the learning areas that he or she's supposed to, and write an external exam without having any struggles. And I noticed that our kids are going to school at around 4 years for grade R, which is too early for them to do that. For a child to have a solid foundation, he has or she has to go to school at least 7 years for him to start grade 1. So that, you know, psychology and the Bible are the same. I usually say that the Bible says train up a child in the way that he should go, so that when he grows, he should not depart from it. And psychology would say lay a solid foundation for a child between childbirth and 7 years. Foundation. When we're talking about foundation, we are talking about all the milestones they're supposed to have, all the steps they're supposed to go through. You would think, Hore, the child is actually clever when he is able. Right now they're able to use the phones, and the parent would tell you, you know, this child is so clever and she's able to know where the games are and all of that. But there are certain skills, or there are certain milestones that a child is supposed to fully develop or fully have before they could start with grade 1. At grade R, it's a pre for the school, for the real school now. So at grade R, the child has to turn 6 years by then. And when they turn 6 years by then, you'd be now starting to teach them how to read 3-letter words, you know, your act and ben, you know, they'll be able to sound with those words. But younger than that, they're still young to do that. So that's why we actually identified those barriers at school. And I thought, you know what, my very first job was volunteering at a creche.
Okay.
My firstborn had to go to creche, so I was using a public transport to creche. I would take him in the morning, go back home because I was not working by then, and I would need to climb again taxi and go and fetch him and go back home. And then I thought, no man, let me just do my cleaning in the morning, bath him, make myself ready, also take him to creche and volunteer at a creche.
Sure. Okay.
So you would notice that when God wants to mold your character for something that he wants you to do, he would start you, you know,
Yeah.
okay, and then you would realize, yes, after, oh, that's why things are falling into place when I wanted. That's why I had this passion for kids. That's why I had this passion for child development. And it didn't start now, it actually started back then.
Yeah.
You know, like you're 21 years back when you wanted to just volunteer at a creche. Khanti, he is the one who's preparing you for that. So that's how it started. And I thought, God, you just gave me this house, and I'm thinking I should share this home with the rest of the kids. How about that? And he said to me, well, let's do this. We have a conversation later, because you cannot do anything without him approving this prior. So we started Mickey Mini, and I remember me and my firstborn, we were in front of Pick and Pay, and we were just thinking of the name. Okay, so what are we going to call this daycare center? And I said Mickey Mouse because my little one loved the character Mickey Mouse. That's how it started. And I was like, no, but if it's Mickey Mouse, it will only be for boys.
Yeah.
And we want it to be for both boys and girls. So how about Mickey Minnie? And then we even had to argue, we needed that hyphen between. And he was like, no, but I want it there. It does not need to make sense to anybody. So we that's how the name came, Mickey Mini, and it had to be a Christian school, because I believe that, you know, Proverbs 22 verse 6, train up a child in the way that he should go. So in the morning, that's where we lay foundation with the kids. That's where we build their characters in the fact that it is a Christian school. Yeah.
Sure, wow, beautiful. I just like the part when you were talking about volunteering at first, because I was just talking to the Matava, and I had a discussion with him about how we met. So I was telling him that I was volunteering at Department of Education, and that's how we met, and now it developed into this beautiful relationship. So I was just saying, you know, people don't understand the importance of volunteering at times, and not just volunteering, but when, as you said, when you are led by God, sometimes you don't even see that this is God leading you to places. But I just wanted us to encourage people and say, guys, go out there and volunteer. Volunteer when you don't have anything to do. Listen to what your passion is about and volunteer, and you will see God work wonders for you.
True.
Yeah.
True.
So Mickey Minnie is a year old. A lot of people don't know, and people were like, what? So I just want you to explain to us. Now the crèche is growing and things are falling into place. Then COVID. And now you have to shut doors, kids can't come as usual, and all. Like, what was going on in your head? What was going on in the space of the learners, the teachers, and the parents? Because now it's not only you, but there's so many parties involved. Like, how did COVID-19 affect you or affect Mickey Minnie as a whole?
You know, COVID-19 story just makes me laugh, because parents would be saying, but Mama Dumi, you've always used the sanitizer. When you knew about COVID-19 before it came? That's why I'm saying, you know, every time God would just prepare you for certain things. Nutrition is the first thing that I am very passionate about when it comes to kids, and the other thing would be your cleanliness. So hygiene. That's why at our door you would have sanitizer. That's why when COVID-19 came and all the shops were sanitizers were sold out, we had sanitizers in our cupboards. Because I don't know, maybe God had prepared us, but how it affected us, we were supposed to all close, and we understand that it was for the sake of everybody's safety. This sickness was just here, you know, at the bank, and we didn't really understand what is it, what are we fighting with. And somehow God was saying, you know, be still.
Sure.
And know that I am God. So we had to he had to just, you know, put us, all of us, at stand and at ease, and we had to be still and listen to him. So in that time, it was really stressful. I don't want to lie, financially, but somehow it would keep you and your relationship with God very close, where you would say, okay, what now? I believe that in every step that we take in our lives, He leads. In everything that we do, He would say, you're now forgetting that I am the leader here. So just sit there, sit still, and allow me. And for you to listen to his voice, you would need to you know, be at this intimate corner with him, where you need to understand his purpose,
Sure.
his plans. Usually with Mickey Minnie, I would just kneel, you know, right in the middle of quietness, Mickey Minnie, and kneel there and talk to God and say, Lord, every child that is coming here, bring your angels and cover them with your grace, cover them with your love. Lead us, because I want to believe that Mickey Minnie is not really mine. I'm just a vessel, you know. I might have started, I might have initiated everything that is here, but in everything that is happening with Mickey Minnie, you are the anchor and you are the leader. So during COVID-19, if you are not a Christian, you'd be shaken and having the stress, and you'd be admitted. But knowing that you're a child of God, and He says, I have plans not to harm you, but to prosper you, then you would just sit back and say, okay, I know that you have plans here.
Sure.
What now? And then He said, change your model.
Yeah. Okay.
Change your model from daycare to a boarding. And then I would say, boarding? Parents are not going to allow their 3-year-olds or 4-year-olds or 5-year-olds to come and stay with us full time. And He would say, no, actually parents trust you because you started with daycare. That was them or me building trust between you and them, so that when we bring this new bottle, they would know who are they dealing with. Is she good with their kids? Will she be able to take care of these kids? Not only yourself, but with your helpers, your teachers, your family and everybody. So that's how we changed the model right now, because we thought, okay, everybody has been asked to isolate themselves and all of that, but parents need to go back to work. And what do they do with their kids, because this is lockdown? So when the department allowed us to open from the 6th of July, we just opted, okay, we will introduce the boarding thing to the parents. And to our surprise, we do have parents that actually entrusted us with their little ones, where we are now having kids here with us full time. They are coming Sunday evening and leaving Friday afternoon. They're just going home for a weekend and they're coming again. So we stay with them full time. We've actually decided to cut the in and outs of the premises due to this COVID-19, where the parents, even if they're coming to fetch the kids on Friday, some of them, they don't even enter our premises. We are that strict with the regulations, and making sure that we practice those regulations with the kids, social distancing. But if we are a family, it's not really easy for the kids to at a go understand the social distancing, and that you can't just hug anybody who comes in. That's why we had to limit certain things, so that even for us, our lives are not us alone. Our lives are for these kids. If you're going for shopping, you need to do it in the morning where the shops are empty. It's little things like that will just make you to I can talk a lot about Wikimedia, I'm telling you, because that's where my passion is. And child development, it's something. If I see a child being able to walk, just walking, fella, because we had babies before COVID-19, it's a wow to me. If a child comes in our premises not knowing any word of English, and after some months she's able to articulate herself and express herself in English, it's such a development that one would just sleep at night.
This is truly your calling, because I can even see the glow on your face as you talk about it. I wanted us also, I wanted you to also tell us, especially when, something I noticed as I've been watching what you do behind the scenes on social media and everything. One thing that you did also was you were sending material at home, because I thought that's only for high school learners, where their teachers would send their homeworks or things to do via it's either the emails or however they contact their parents. But you also did it for these young ones. Tell me, what made you say, okay, the doors are closed but learning continues? What drove you to saying we can't just close our doors and let our kids just stay at home and do nothing?
Hey, when are you asking me secret stuff? Sometimes I don't really know why I did those things. But anyway, yes, we had what you call distance learning with our little ones. We remember with private schools, I would say schools, private schools or private creches, they would expect parents to pay because they've signed a 12 months contract, and they're supposed to actually, whether there's any activity or not, they're supposed to stick to the contract and pay the fees. But we felt we will cut down the fees during lockdown, and when we cut down the fees, it would mean we will also need to give services to the parents. Kids are at home, they're watching TV the whole day, and you know, TV is not really good for your 2-year-old. So what we said to the parents is, we will give you a daily schedule from morning until evening, and we will give you your Bible lesson that you need to do with the kids for the week. They need to practice their Bible verses, their memory verses, that's what we call them. And then we'll give you a routine and even a meal plan of what to give them every day, what's next, so that they have a balanced meal, same that we give at school. And then we will give them activities according to lesson plan. We will do lesson plan every week, and also what they would need to learn, how they should do them. And we will, in our lesson plan, we will tell a parent exactly how she or he's supposed to do that thing. And what amazes me is that during my time, when I did the learning barriers at school, parental involvement was one of the things that I encouraged at schools, that a parent also has to be involved in the child's education, whether it's at a young age or at high school. So that was now the chance to allow parents to be involved and actually see through that all the milestones that we are talking about, the parent is able to identify those little things by just taking them through those steps. So we would just have a full lesson plan for the week with the theme topic and everything, and we would just give them projects, weekly projects. They loved the projects. If maybe we are talking about sound that week, so they will be learning about different sounds and all of that. And then the week project would be maybe make yourself an instrument that gives sound. So the parent would be involved with the child. It limits the child from TV, it limits the child from your phone. Even when as a parent you take your phone and put it there and you do those guitars, or maybe you just take him to color whatever, or to cut and paste from the magazines, or you just teach him the things that make sounds in the house. So our lesson plan was based on things that are at home and what they can do and how they can do it, and for them to have that experience of teaching their own kids.
Sure, that sounds like so much fun, and I believe that now parents are more interested in their kids learning than before, because most of the time the parents will just drop kids and leave and don't even care what's happening. So I believe that this has also breached the gap between the parents and the children. And it's Women's Month now, and one of the things that we've been doing at MCI TV is we've been looking for women who took COVID-19 in a positive way and innovated themselves. And as I'm talking to you, I'm like, I believe that we have that woman who didn't say, okay, COVID-19 and now life is falling apart, and they didn't, but they used this opportunity to better themselves and better their brand. So the one thing that you also did was you didn't become selfish and say, okay, it's just Mickey Mini Kids and I'll send them videos and lesson plans and all these things, but you also went to the radio, our local radio station, and now it was no longer just about Mickey Mini, but about all the other kids who at their kindergartens they did not offer all these things. Tell me how did now everything get to the radio part? I know that it's God and He's guiding you and everything, but for you to say, okay, now God, radio, we're doing this, and how it was your experience with radio and talking to kids and getting them involved. How was now that experience for you?
Yeah, we I I felt, Hori, I have this knowledge and I need to share it with our little ones out there. And we've been talking about Kiddies Corner with Madibeng FM. So we felt, no man, this is the right time where we can do Kiddies Corner. So that's how Kiddies Corner with Mama Tumi came in. The very same lesson plans that I was doing for the distance learning. Every week with Madibeng FM, we would take the same lesson plan and I would articulate it step by step with Kiddies Corner, and we would have them calling in. So I felt, Hore, you know, COVID-19, it's so stressful. We are not really thinking about the kids. We are only thinking about adults and how they need to take care of themselves and their families and all of that. And it was very stressful to the kids because mentally they had to stay home and wonder, when are we going back? When are we having our own lives back? So, okay, let's just bring this Vavavoom in Kiddies Corner and, you know, bringing them closer to tell us how they feel or what they've learned about this COVID-19. And, you know, move from COVID-19 and talking about it every day and just let's do the lesson plan and let's talk about things that they have learned or they can learn at home and give them projects that they can do. So that's how Kiddies Corner came, and I'm telling you, it is growing. Kiddies Corner, it's going to just blow this after. Because we will be now bringing the professionals, your clinical psychologist, any other people, your educational psychologist. They want to come now. Mama to me, we want to be on that show. We want to share our knowledge. You know, people now want to come and volunteer their knowledge about children's development and how they can deal with this during COVID-19. So
wow, guys, I'm speechless. Okay, so Mama Tumi, I'm inspired by everything that you're saying and how, like, I just love it. I love how people like innovate themselves. I don't like people just sit and cry. Yes, we cry, we fall down, but we get up. So you are an example of that. Your journey from you started volunteering, then you were now involved professionally in this, and then you went into your own space. One of the things I want us to talk about is that usually people think that starting a daycare center is just, you just open a daycare center and call parents to bring their kids and you'll sing ABCs and you know, all these things that we went through, some of us. But tell me, for you to actually have the knowledge, and I see when you look at the banners they're talking about psychology and I'm like, how does now psychology get involved in running a daycare center? Please tell us in a nutshell what it takes to have a daycare center so that people understand, because for a person to say, even through lockdown, I'm still going to care about these young ones and their education, because most of the people are saying, they'll grow, it's okay, but you still carry it on. Tell us what it truly takes to run a fully fledged daycare center.
One, you need to be very passionate about child development. You need to understand how the child is developed. You need to have patience in dealing with different parents or different characters, let me say that, within the parents and also the kids. You need to be understanding how you can create an environment for different types of your learners. So you need to have a level 4 or level 5 of ECD. That's the most important.
Okay.
Yeah, because I have a developmental psychology, but ECD, which is early childhood development, does not look at that.
Okay.
You need to understand and have a qualification of ECD so so that you know how to teach the kids within their learning areas, and how you're able to make them understand, or when you are teaching them about your body, how you can teach them the body parts, and how can you structure your lesson plan around that. Okay, fine. That's the educational part. And then you need to be able to lay a foundation, a solid foundation that will build a good character, because in that case you are laying a foundation of somebody else's husband, or of somebody else's wife, or of a president, or of somebody who will be a CEO one day. So whatever the character that you are laying on this child, because you need to lay a character that after 7 years they'll be able to uphold in whatever that they do. So as a person, you just need that to be a very calm and respected community member. Yeah, you need to be able to work with different levels in your community, and outsource the stakeholders and work with those stakeholders. I mean, you cannot just open a creche without the municipality understanding that you have a business somewhere. If they see your board wherever, they need to be knowing, okay, this person came to our offices and there is this at her premises. But before all of that, you need to register.
Okay.
Yeah. We don't just open doors and say, hey, mummies, bring your kids. You need to go to social development. That's where we are governed as ECDs. Social development, you register with them, and you get your social worker who will be able to work with you to register the program also. SARS, you need to register with them that if you're an NPO or NPC, you need to be making sure that you follow all those protocols to register with them and have your certificate. And then after having your certificate, we have health department now that needs to come in and check where you're saying you're going to put these kids. Is health practices being observed, and then is the environment clean, is it okay for the kids to play at, and all of that. And then again we have health and safety that needs to also come, where if it's a boarding or whether a daycare, they need to now assess if you have what needs to be having. I mean, if you see in every of our classes, you will get that says health and safety is here. So those are the departments that needs to be in. The most important Department of Education. Right now they are requiring all ECDs to register as private entities.
Okay.
Yes. So you need to also enroll with them and register with them. But you cannot go to the Department of Education without having to have started with social development and health and safety before you could do all of those things. And you need to, with the Department of Social Development, it's 3 steps that you need to be at. You need to register the program with, and you need to make sure that, and all of those need the health inspector and the safety inspector that will be governing you and rechecking you every time if
everything is in order. Wow. Okay. So I hope everyone out there who's thinking of opening a daycare center is really listening to everything that Mama Tumi has shared, and that I got any chance, guys. Please ask us any chance. True. Okay, Mama Tumi. One thing I love also before we close, second last thing, is that you've developed a family within you and the staff. Is not just Mama Tumi, the principal or the founder of Mickey Mini and the teachers there, like how did you make this environment like so homey where everybody just feels welcome? Even like you say, you have a relationship with the parents. Why is it so important that your teachers also feel welcome and feel like they're part of what you're doing?
Usually, even where I was working before I resigned, I used to say, I'm not a boss, I'm a leader. Yeah, when you're a leader, at a crash, you don't, even if you hire a teacher will also need to have her motherly instincts, where she would need to wipe their noses if they're having running nose, or maybe if they've gone to the toilet, be able to assist the child in the toilet. So you need somebody who is more of a mother and then a teacher again. So with me, I was able to show them that I'm not really saying you should keep your classes clean, because I'm unable to do it. I clean the crash myself and make sure that I disinfect during weekends and every time. So I lead by example. Yes, I lead by example. And I'm not a type of coming with heels, and if you can see me right now, I'm on my flat shoes. Because the environment, you need to be able to have a grip when the kids are just coming and hugging you, or if you need to be, if your teacher has a problem, she needs to be able to come to you and say, "Ish, mama, to me waiting, and this is what needs to happen," so that you are able to have that relationship. So we are more of a family. Yeah, we are more of a family, and we do have our own, tickles there and there,
like any
where
other
I
family.
need to reprimand for it. Now there you can't just do. We need to correct ourselves. But usually what I say to my staff is that when we reprimand, it's just a way of saying we are wrong. If you listen to my words, most of the time I use we than I, because it's not really my Mickey Mini, it's our Mickey Mini. And for it to grow, it's not going to be because of Mama Dumi. It's going to be with the fact that we have teachers that are taking care of these kids, and the parents are loving that, so they will sell us out there. If it happens that God wants this to be a primary school, which we are praying for, then it would mean we are doing something right. The fact that we only started a year back, and it was last year, 7th, oh my word, 7th of January last year. But by end of January, we had exceeded our target for 2019 and 2020 before COVID-19. I call it 2020 BC, by the way. Before COVID-19, we had enrollment, and it means parents are happy and parents are bringing the kids, and that means the institution is also growing. And hallelujah to that.
Sure, 7, the number of perfection. It wasn't by coincidence. Okay, so Mama Tumi, as we close, I want you to explain now, as when we started, we spoke about learning barriers, and as we were talking, you also mentioned how it is important to lay a solid foundation, because this child one day is going to be someone's wife, a president, a CEO, or a MST. So please tell me, like, for you, okay, let's talk first about how the paradigm shift from now no more daycare, now it's a boarding school. How did that work for you? How did you take the learners into that, and now I can assume that they are now used to the routine of the boarding, because I've never seen a boarding school crash before.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't. So I can just imagine me being so young and my mom is leaving me for the whole week, and what's happening with this person? And now I have to be with Mama to be the whole week. So how did that, with everyone, the family, when I say family, I mean the Mickey Mini family, the paradigm shift, taking them from there, and then we'll go back to the other question I wanted to ask.
Okay. Our little ones, I'm telling you, there's this other parent, when they thought of bringing the child here for boarding, she said, you know, usually I struggle to leave my child at my pastor's house, because my husband would be so quick to say, hey, come back home quickly, you need to go fetch the child. But when I mentioned that Mama Tumi is now changing the model to a boarding school, and how about we take the child there, the husband was like, no problem,
Sure.
and she was shocked. This guy. So when we mentioned Mama Tumi, you know, we don't need really to explain further and all of that. But to me, it was saying parents trust us. Yeah, they trust us, and for us to have decided to have a boarding, it means we also need to trust ourselves that we'll be able to take care of these little ones. I mean, at this age, they still cannot sleep the whole night without being woken up and go to the toilet at night. So we need to be having that patience. Or okay, you'll be sleeping with 5 kids, and you need to make sure that all of them have bathed by every evening. You know, they are on their PJs, and they have supper, and they go to bed at a certain time, and then in the middle of the night you need to wake them up for a toilet routine, and then come back again. So even if we had teachers, I had to just explain to them this will be totally different. And for you to decide that you are coming back, you should know our rules now. This is what is going to happen, and this is how you would need to be with the kids, and you would need to take your life, you know, because even during weekends you cannot go to functions and funerals, because you'd be keeping yourself safe from this COVID-19. So it was a major change. It was a major change, where now the kids would be here the whole day. Yes, we had those moments where their first weeks they would cry in the evening, I want my mommy, you see, and you needed to comfort the child. Mommy is coming on Friday. If there's one thing that I teach the kids, and I would encourage our staff to also teach the kids, is to be, you know, truthful with them from the start. Don't say mommy is coming. No, you are here with us, and you'll be staying Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and mommy will be coming on Friday. What is the day today? Today is Wednesday. Okay, so you only have one night, and mommy will be coming. You see, things like that. That's how you would just explain to the child, until, you know, he gets used to it, or she gets used to it. Okay, Mama told me, so today is Thursday, tomorrow is Friday. Yeah, so mommy is coming Friday in the afternoon. You know, that's how they would just get used to it. And the fact that we needed to keep them busy, you know, their young minds. From morning, we had to have breakfast within their small dining that we've set up for them, and then the house is their home. Outside classes are their school.
Okay.
So we had to separate the two, that in the house it's home, and then the classes outside is your school. So when they leave after breakfast, you should just see them. Bye, Mama to me, we'll see you later. As if like they're going somewhere else.
Oh, wow.
And they'll be going to the school where now we'll be now following their daily routine program that they are used to, where we do the morning devotion, it's tea break time, it's activity time, you know, it's a full-fledged school. And then in the afternoon they would now go to either outdoor activity, depends on weather, or they would just come and have TV time, and you know, but we have a structured routine for them that made it easy. So once the child gets used to that, once he feels the warmth or she feels the warmth, I'm telling you, the parents are right now complaining that Mama to me would just have you know, they would just feel hurried. The child would be home on Friday, and on Saturday they'll be like, when is Sunday coming? I need to go back.
Sure.
So yeah, that's what we get these days. And the most challenging which needs you to be very careful of is balancing their nutritional needs. Or if you give them this porridge in the morning, or it's either porridge or oats, in the afternoon the meal has to be balanced also. The snacks has to be, you know, fruits. We don't give them sweets at all.
Okay.
And the way the system it's either when they had sweets at home, Monday morning we would see that we are able to pick it up, because the child will either vomit and then be like, Mommy, did you give my child some sweets? Because the system during the week, it gets used to the fact that they don't eat junk, they don't eat sweets or anything. If we need to get them sweet things, I do get them, you know, Happy Friday something. It would either be your dried fruit or whatever. So they get used to the routine, they get used to the system, and we make it as homely as it can be. We call it boarding because they're all here, but I love calling it a home away from their home, where the house is their home, the school is with the outside classes. So yeah.
This is so interesting. Yeah, okay, so now my last question is, how do you, when laying the foundation for the presidents and everything now, how do you prepare them for the school, for the primary school, when now they have to go to grade 1 and so on, while thinking about the learning barriers that they might get there? And also, how do learning barriers, like if they are not attended to while the child is still young, how does it then affect them in their in their adulthood and their life as they grow up?
It's 2 questions. Let me answer the first one. The first one is, how do we prepare them for school? We do have grade R in Mikimini, and because, as I mentioned, we have a daily program of a school. The grade R's, they have their lesson plan that we follow, that we do with them. So even for assessments, even the distance learning, we do have the assessment templates that we send to the parents to fill, so that we are able to come and do a proper report for them. So we make sure that whatever that we do within the curriculum the Department of Education gave us, we follow it to the core, and making sure that they reach all the learning areas, or they do all the learning activities, so that they are ready for schooling. Okay. And then if we encounter that maybe a child might be having some kind of a learning barrier in our premises, at very early, the first quarter, I would just call the parents and we discuss what we have identified and try to get assistance for those children as early as possible. So because we are a kindergarten, sometimes you'd have a 3-year-old who's maybe having ADHD or is an autistic child, and then the parents maybe are not really aware, but I am because I would assess them now and then in their classes if they are able to do certain things. We'll just call the parent and then arrange. I work with the Department of Education, the Inclusive Education Unit, where we have Mrs. Alta Kutsia. She's the one who is an educational psychologist. So usually if I have children that I need to refer to her, we just set up an appointment with the parents and then she takes over. Yeah, in that case. Where I was before, when we identify that a child has learning barriers, like I said to you, we would see that from grade 3 the child is not able to write an external exam. For example, you'll be asking a child about shapes at grade 3. By then they need to be knowing that this is a triangle, this is a square, this is a rectangle or a circle. But simple questions like that, maybe a child would not be able to, or a child would not even be able to read a 3-letter word, or maybe a child would not be able to do certain activities that we expect her or him to be able to do them at that time, because at grade 3 we need to understand what now they are going over the foundation to intermediate. So the child has to now be able to do everything that is in the foundation phase, because once they go to intermediate, we introduce more subjects where mentally they need to grab more than 4 subjects that they were doing in. So if we see that inclusive education in the department comes in handy. We were training the teachers on using a policy, SEAS. SEAS is screening, identification, assessment, and support. It means the teacher has to be trained to screen this child. Screening the child is just giving him or her activities that you as a teacher know that he needs to be able to do them, and just testing him. That's screening. And then if he is not able to do certain activities, then you would know where are the barriers. And identification is just identifying that after screening this child, he's not able to do these activities, and at his age he needs or he has to be able to do them. And then now we come up with support. We have what we call ISP. Now you're taking me back. ISP is an individual support plan, where teacher needs to now have an individual support plan for this child. Okay, he's not able to do these activities, and he needs to identify that child at a very early time, this is the support plan. He would need to have a written plan for this child, that I will call the parents and I will do 1, 2, 3. As a teacher, she will need to have understood what activities can assist this child. Maybe if the child is at grade 3, she would need to go step back for the child to understand those activities at the back there. So if you bring a child, let's say the child is 4 years at grade R, and the speech is not really clear, so the child cannot even express himself or herself that I'm Widumelo Mohudi and I'm 4 years old. So at grade 3, if the teacher has to do an ISP, individual support plan, she would now need to take her back to that and practice her to have this assertiveness of knowing himself, of knowing herself, or of knowing the body parts the high. So yeah, those are the policies that the Department of Education has introduced in assisting these kids, so that we limit having a high rate of failures at grade 9 or grade 12, which are the external exams. So we wanted, that's why we did it at primary school, so that we identify it at primary level, so that when he goes to high school, he was able to be assisted.
Okay, so they can nip it in the bud.
Yes, yes.
Okay, wow, Mama Tumi, I really enjoyed this interview and it was very informative. I really learned a lot. What last words that would you like to share with our viewers? Maybe words of wisdom or last words? Where can people find you? Anything else you want people to know?
I'm always at Mickey Mini. We are in Brettstown. Our contacts are 081 518 5762. You can either WhatsApp us or just call us. We do have boarding, and soon we will be opening again for daycare, because I know that there are parents that would not really allow kids to come for boarding. Yeah, and if you need, I'm actually available. If you I'm just hoping that I'll have time. If you need any advice about your child who's maybe having learning barriers, where you can go, I can assist and connect you with people that can assist you, especially if your child is at an age where she needs to go to grade R or grade 1 or at school level. And then what else?
Facebook.
We have a Facebook page. Yes. We do have a Facebook page. All activities and everything is there. Just go Google Mickey Mini Christian Daycare Center and it will actually take you to our Facebook page. Yeah.
Your last words of wisdom or encouragement.
My lovely parents, I would say my parents, because those are the people that I talk to every time. Kindly allow our kids to finish all their milestones within 7 years. Please take your child to school or to grade R at that year that he's turning 6 years. Let's not take our child to school at age 4 or at age 5. They are not ready yet. You would think that do not think that your child is clever when he's able to maneuver your phone. No. He is not ready yet. Allow them to have those paces to finish up those milestones before they can go to school. It's better to delay your child at foundation so that they are able to do well when they're at high school, middle school, and tertiary. So please, I plead, do not take your child to grade R before he turns 6 years. It does not matter if he turns 6 years in January or June or whenever. Those we are not looking at the moment, as long as the child is turning 6 years at that age. And if you feel that your child is not ready yet, because sometimes your child turns 6 years in December, and you feel my child is not really up to scratch, delay him that year. Allow him to repeat grade R again, because once he's or she's in educational system, they are not allowing our grade R's to repeat. When as a parent, you need to take that decision that noticed that she's not able to do 1 2 3 4 5, or maybe concentration span is not really up to scratch, can we just make sure that she repeats the grade? It's better to delay your child than to allow the child and have peer pressures for it. You know, somebody else's child is at grade R and mine has to be there also. So yeah, it's my plea is that let's allow our kids to have their milestones are fully met, and also the foundation is fully laid before they can go.
Yeah, parents, please, we beg, make sure that your kids go through the whole milestone so that they don't suffer when they get up there. Thank you very much, Mama Tumi, for being with us at Moments of Reflection with Miss T on MCI TV. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much, Miss T.
Well, guys, you heard everything. I don't want to add anything. I hope everyone learned about childhood, daycare center, child development, and everything else that Mama Tumi said. Please remember to watch us on Moments of Reflection with Miss T on MCI TV on Facebook. Search MCI TV, or on YouTube it's also MCI TV. Don't forget to like our pages and subscribe. Also, you can find me on TM Makwani Ministries Facebook page. From me, your girl, Miss T. This was episode 5. See you next week. Bye.